For daily ask Reddit people who saved themselves for marriage and eventually got divorced, what was your approach towards sex after the divorce? In our conservative Lebanese society, after the first divorce, you get a free pass actually. Some people would talk about you, but a lot of conservative people would just tell them she's divorced, she can do what she wants. From what I've been told, my GF, Greek culture is very similar. You get a black mark which can be seen as bad, or completely liberating. Greek here, that's totally true. I'm in my mid-30s, divorced. Greeks usually don't get divorced, so I'm the black sheep. The old ladies at church ask if I'm dating, going out, etc. I feel like they are trying to live through me vicariously. Mom didn't have sex for 8 years after getting divorced. She's a devoted Christian for sure. Unfortunately, she got drunk and ruined her 8-year streak. Got it on with my boyfriend's dad. Sigh. My scenario was a bit unique in that my ex-husband and I never did the deed in our marriage. After the divorce, I really couldn't wait to lose my V card. I had to suppress my sexuality for so long that my mindset was just to let loose and have some fun. But then I met a really lovely man and we hit it off really well. We are so compatible in many ways, especially in the bedroom, and I have no desire to know what sex would be like with someone else. Would I tell others to wait for marriage? Probably not. But doing it with someone you are deeply in love with is one of the most amazing things in the world, and it's worth waiting for that person to come into your life. Similar story but no marriage. I was with a gay guy 3 years, so there was obviously no sex. When he came out I was like, duck it, I'm gonna make up for lost time with a bunch of one night stands. I wanted the first time to be with someone hot. So I picked a guy based off looks alone and made my move. He was supposed to be the first of many, but we ended up getting along really well and now we are married, and that's how I accidentally waited for the right guy. Good question. I'm an ex-Mormon and was a virgin when I got married at 21. Was married for over 6 years, had a good, active sex life, and when I got divorced 2 years back, it was a strange new world. I was excited to have sex with new people, but I quickly found after a handful of hookups that it wasn't always that great. There were some exceptions obviously, but I often find that people who haven't been in long-term relationships are pretty lousy in bed. Having a bunch of one-night stands doesn't make you better at ducking emo. Getting to know someone's body and experimenting does. If I could do it over again, I wouldn't have saved myself for marriage. The best sex I've had has been after my divorce. I have a general rule. Now that I won't have sex on the first date, I like having more of an emotional connection with the other person. It's more enjoyable that way for me. I saved myself for marriage and thought my fiancé was super sweet and supportive for waiting with me, even though he didn't want to. Turns out he was so okay with it because he was doing other chicks behind my back. And he didn't stop doing other chicks when we got married either. Once we got divorced I pretty much just didn't care anymore. I'm still not capable of having sex with someone I don't believe I'm in love with, but I don't care about virginity or body count or anything like that anymore. I've had 5 long-term boyfriends, so I've slept with 5 people total. I don't ever feel bad about it or regret sleeping with them. And I don't feel like having one-night stands or casual sex is a bad thing by any means either. I just personally don't want to have sex with someone unless I believe I'm in love with them. Got married in my mid-20s, not realizing that asexuality was even a thing, let alone that I could possibly apply to a good Christian boy who had saved himself. Purity culture in some Christian circles can be a really rough time. We were married for about 1.5 years, and I only ever came once from sex or sexual interaction with her. It was really rough for both of us. The hits to her self-esteem, the belief that I was broken in some way. Over time we just stopped really trying. A whole lot of other factors played into the split, but that was definitely one of them. I spent a couple of years after avoiding all possible romantic entanglements, then ventured out a little and found some open-minded people who I briefly dated here or there. It was nice to be close to someone again. and I have found that I really like making other people have a good time. There is something immensely satisfying to me to be the cause of someone else's satisfaction, but it can be a little hard for a partner since I'm so devoid of sexual reaction. It takes a fair bit of reassurance and good communication to keep that stuff good and healthy, and so they don't feel like they are using me or that I find them repulsive or whatever. Still a work in progress, I guess. Edit. Well folks, it's official. My highest rated comment and first one getting awards is about how I realized I don't like coming by getting a divorce. One of my lifelong friends comes from an extremely Christian family. All 3 kids were taught how bad before marriage is. 2 of the 3 ended up with children out of wedlock. My close friend of these siblings saved herself, but ended up rushing into marriage with very little self-awareness, and found herself in a completely sexually and otherwise incompatible marriage. All 3 are divorced at least once now. One has more baby mamas than I can keep track of. After my friend's divorce, she abandoned the no sex before marriage business. She didn't have any wild escapades, but developed strong sexual and otherwise chemistry with her now husband. Her parents still tried to shame them. It was a clusterfuck to watch over the years. I knew a girl that was very hands-off prior to marriage. I never really thought too much about it until I went to her wedding, and before they kissed the pastor made the announcement that this will be their first kiss, and I was blown away that they have never kissed before, but after their "you may now kiss the bride" kiss, it was obviously their first kiss. The rest of the wedding and reception went well enough, and I heard nothing from them for a few months until someone told me they are getting a divorce less than 6 months later. I have a few theories on why. I think the bride is asexual and either never realized it or did not reveal that prior to getting married. She got a bunch of tattoos after the divorce, full chest ink, sleeves. But I never heard of her dating after, but we are not close. I, now 38, waited until I was 20. I gave myself to her because I was sure I wanted to wake up next to her for the rest of my life. I felt like we balanced each other for fun and work. We met while I was in college and we worked at a pizza place. She gave me a positive pregnancy test for Christmas, and I was happy as hell. After getting married, she seemed to be focused on money and comparing our lives to others. It ended soon after. I got my bachelor's and continued to make good money, but the grass was always greener elsewhere to her. Everyone told me after the divorce I just needed to get laid to get over her. Sex to me was and is still special. I have only experienced it between myself and 3 others. I feel that it is more meaningful when that trust and love is earned.